found me. You find me, or did I find you? I found you. I found you. I found you. You found me. You find me, or did I find you? I found you. I found you. I found you. You found me. You found me, or did I find you? I found you. I found you. I found you. You found me. I found you. You found me, or did I find you? I found you. I found you. I found you. You found me. I found you.
Peace, and love. It's the chosen one. It's the guided one. It's the guided one. It's the chosen one. It's the man with the pitcher of water. Hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to discuss an epiphany that I had a while back, actually, that I hadn't really necessarily brought to anyone's attention on this platform. However, gotta do my disclaimer. Any content that I produce via social media or any technological platform is only for entertainment purposes. And now with that being said, I wanted to talk about an aspect of the Quran that nobody is looking at as a Muslim, right? When you're looking at the Quran, the metaphysical aspect of it, right? A lot of people are going to disagree. I know, because you're all surface level. You just do what you're told. And you don't actually dive into scripture. You don't actually look into what these things mean and what's taking place. Excuse me. So what I wanted to discuss was the Fatiha. The Fatiha, it's feminine name, right? If you watch any of my previous videos, you know what the feminine truly is on a metaphysical level and what it represents. And dimensionally, of course, third dimension you have the female, and fourth dimension you have fourth and fifth dimension you have the black hole, and so on and so forth. I haven't necessarily experienced sixth-dimensional knowledge just yet, but hopefully once I complete my fifth-dimensional journey, I'll be able to transmute into that. A lot of you probably won't even understand anything I say once I get there. I'm already in the fifth dimension, and a lot of you don't even understand what I'm saying. So once I get to the sixth, inshallah, then maybe I'll be able to explain what the feminine aspect is on those higher levels. But I digress. What I wanted to say was the Fatiha is the feminine, and it translates to the opening. Now, what is feminine and opens? It's the first chapter of the Quran. I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm going to just tell you straight up. So the Fatiha is a black hole. It is. The Fatiha is Allah telling us, it's the first chapter of the Quran, first surah, is telling us how we got to this reality through a black hole, the opening. And how does it start? It starts, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Right? It starts off praising God, right? But it's a feminine name. Right? Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin. Right? Master of the Day of Judgment. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You alone we worship. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path, right? Basically, we're asking that force to guide us down the straight path, right? Because once you realize that feminine aspect of the universe, that God comes through, right? The masculine is an aspect of God, Allah. The feminine is an aspect of the universe that brings Allah here, and that's why the whole twisted story of Mary and Jesus is that way. Is that Jesus was born of the Spirit, right? So he never knew his father, right? Because his father was ultimately the Spirit, and that's why the Christians confuse him as God himself, because the spirit became so-called flesh. But that's just an analogy or an allegory for the truth and reality behind the metaphysics behind how humanity exists, which is we come through the feminine. That's why people get confused that with the mitochondrial DNA of the black woman being God. A lot of people say this in the conscious community, but that's not the case, because she is the portal, the black hole in which God comes through, right? And I'm not saying that God needs it. God created it that way. But in order to traverse these dimensions, this is how it happens. This is how it takes place, especially on like fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional ways. This is how the higher level dimensional beings travel through black holes, and some of the higher level evil beings, because you can have evil low dimensional, low frequency beings. They can be evil or good, just low frequency. And you can have high frequency, that could be good or bad. So it's on both spectrum. The spectrum is on both levels, high and low. So they all use black holes to travel. Some of them thwart those black holes, though. Some of them actually use and twist the metaphysically, I would say the technological, the metaphysics of the technology that creates a black hole. So the bio, how can I say this? I guess the biology of the universe is a technology to higher dimensional beings, if that makes sense. So they can actually, some of these evil beings can actually manipulate it to usher in different certain timelines and stuff, right? But that's the Fatiha, the ultimate, the Fatiha, the feminine, which brings in the aspect of God, right? And it's a black hole, and black holes create suns, and the suns are the main source. They're the stargates. They're the main source of how human beings and all life and creation on Earth and other planets too get life, because you have suns that are bigger than our other suns, right? That make our sun. See, they say 1.3 million Earths can fit inside our sun. Our sun, 1.3 million Earths can fit. Our suns can fit inside another sun, and it literally makes us look like these tiny little beings, right? That are microscopic, really, are the size of atoms. We are the atoms, right? And we have atoms within atoms. The universe is a layer of itself. And that's how deep this stuff goes, and God is able to move through them because he is all. And that's how it takes place. The Fatiha is the opening, the black hole, right? And that's what we mimic in Saudi Arabia around the Kaaba. A lot of Muslims don't understand this because they don't go to deeper concepts. The Kaaba is the black cube, which is Metatron's cube, and Metatron is an angel in Islam, right? And they made a movie about it with the Transformers, right? Metatron is an angel in Islam. And he's responsible for the veil. He's responsible for the physical makeup of keeping the human beings here. He's the veil between us and Allah, right? And so when you think about that, right, the black cube, right, it represents the third dimension, right? The cube is third dimensional, right? And what do the Muslims do? They go around it, which direction? Counterclockwise, right? The reversal of time, the time matrix that we're stuck in, right? They go the opposite direction, matching the universe, matching the spiral of the galaxies, right? And that's the same way that they for the Muslims, they say it's because they're mimicking the angels and how they do it around God. And what are angels made up of? Light. Why would angels be circling around on the throne of God? What is the throne of God? What does God sit on? He sits on the darkness. He sits on the Fatiha. He sits on the opening. His light goes through it. Come on, y'all ain't fucking with it, bro. Hey, y'all ain't fucking with the knowledge, boy. Hey, man. Y'all ain't fucking with the knowledge. Hey, I gotta end this video before it get too long, man. But y'all know what I'm saying. So the Muslims, and what do? They wear white as they traverse around the Kaaba, going counterclockwise, because they're representing the light, God's light, against angels that circle around the throne of God. They call it the house of God, the Kaaba, right? Well, the house of God is how God's spirit, God's light being sent down to the human being, because the Metatron's cube is the sacred geometry, is the sacred geometrical makeup of some of the anatomical structures, or I would say atomic structures, of this reality, basically. Is what I'm saying. You know, like when people take drugs, they start seeing shapes and shit. They're seeing the actual makeup of reality. Yeah. I'm gonna just leave it at that, guys, because you have to understand this concept. And when you think about it, right, what did the next chapter of the Quran start with? Baqarah, which is another feminine name, but it's a cow. What is a feminine cow that has to do with You know what I'm saying? It's Hathor, the goddess Hathor from the Egyptians. And guess what she had? She had a sun coming through her horns, the feminine aspect of hellfire, which is where we are. You see, you can look at the Kaaba as a black cube and keeping yourself here, or, because this is a quote to RFG Chosen One. I love your videos, bro. But here's where you kind of get it. Continuing where I left off, I have no issues with RFG Chosen One, but the way he gets it wrong when he says the black cube is a representation of keeping our souls here, yes, but it's also a message. God or Allah or the Most High allowed us to realize, and that's our sign for us to realize that, hey, we are trapped here. What are we doing to prepare ourselves to get back to that true reality where our light came from, right? Which was, it came from a black hole, right? It came from the house of Allah, or it came from a black hole to the house of Allah. That's what the Kaaba is, why the Muslims circle in white, and why they do it counterclockwise to match the angels. The angels, or the angles, the angels are made up of light. And all light that goes to a black hole becomes a sun or matter somewhere else in another dimension. Because black holes are portals. And that's what the Quran starts with. It's a portal. It's a portal. It's been given, and that's what the Quran will tell you. It's been given to you. And it came through a portal. The light of the Quran came through a portal. Hey, y'all ain't fucking with it. Anyway, peace and love to you. RFG, just shout out to RFG Chosen One. I'm not like just trying to like, you know, say anything bad about you, but I was just letting you know, brother, you got a little bit wrong. Just change the perception there, and you got it, man. You're the first one who actually put me on the goddess Hathor, and I started doing my research, man. But peace and love to you, brother. Peace and love to you. Just keep doing your work, man. Keep making more videos. Who cares if they're silencing you, man? Keep doing it, bro. You're doing it, dude. You're saving lives, bro. You're saving consciousness, man. I love it. Anyway, and peace and love to all you out there who are watching. It's the chosen one. It's the guided one. It's the guided one. It's the chosen one. It's the man with the pitcher of water.